Welcome to Chalk Talk. My name is Chris Love.
And I'm John Stork in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Right on, John. It looks a little chilly there. Where are you at?
I'm actually standing, I'm kind of at this, they've got a veterans, like a veterans monument right in front of the state capitol, which is pretty cool. Might be the only state capitol without a dome on top. I'm not sure of that, but there's not a dome. It's much more sort of Mexican, Native American looking, and it's pretty cool looking. And a lot of mountains in the background, and yeah, there's snow. It's 17 degrees, but I'm ready for it.
Well, last week when we checked in, you were in Mississippi. So how's the trip going?
It's been good. We had a long stopover in New Orleans. My sister lives there, and we had a great time hanging out with her and Baker Potts. And then from there, we basically drove through the night to get from there to here, and that turned into a bit of a longer trip. We had pretty much every form of precipitation you can imagine, as well as big breeze, but we made it, and then we got here, and this is a cool little town, lots of art, and it's been good. And then we're heading west from here.
Cool. Well, glad you can continue to join us through the wonders of technology. Let's get into this week's episode of Chalk Talk. Have you ever wondered why it's so important to be a member of U.S. Sailing? We are all U.S. Sailing, from beginners to experts, from one-design sailors to offshore cruisers, and from instructor trainers to race officials. U.S. Sailing supports all types of sailors in countless ways. Where would sailing be without instruction and safety standards? Where would we be without Learn to Sail programs? Join or renew today to support these resources and ensure sailing remains a lifetime activity for everyone.
We'd like to just thank our sponsors again, specifically U.S. Sailing. They did a great job for us this year, and U.S. Sailing really does a ton across every aspect of the sport. You know, a lot of people argue about how to fix sailing and everything like that. Well, at U.S. Sailing, they're really trying to do that, and the biggest thing that they strive for is not fixing just one part of the sport. They are really ambassadors for every avenue of the sport, from recreational sailing, Learn to Sail, race programs. And now we're getting veterans and wounded warriors out on the water, and everything they're doing is really good. And a lot of people have some criticism for U.S. Sailing, but I think they're doing a great job, and hats off to them.
Yeah, and of course we haven't talked much about it, but they do offer a college membership. If you're in college, it's a deeply discounted U.S. Sailing membership, and you're going to need that going forward if you want to do any of the championships, if you want to be involved in training courses. So check out ussailing.org/membership. And our presenting, so they are our presenting sponsor, our supporting sponsor, Zim Sailing. Thanks to those guys. We'll hear more about them later in the show. So, John, this week, as you know, I just got back from Match Race Nationals. We also had the Coastal Championships. Lots of stuff going on for the season finale of the fall season.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend. I have to say, I hear that the regatta at Match Race Nationals was really good, but I had a really hard time finding results. So, Chris, you're going to have to kind of tell me what happened.
Sure. Yeah, things were a little bit confused. We had the main website, and then there was also, I think, results were on the Oak Cliff website, who was also doing some really good Twitter coverage. But yeah, sorry if you were trying to follow the regatta and you couldn't find it all. Luckily, I did do video highlights, which you can find at 2014matchrace.collegesailing.org, and get the full recap. But it was a great event. We had Friday before I got there, lots of wind. It was cold all weekend long, but plenty of good sailing conditions. They got through the entire round robin, save for one race that they finished Saturday morning. Then a repechage, which figured out the 9th and 10th place spots. Everybody else went to quarterfinals, semifinals, which they finished on Saturday, and then Sunday we just had the finals between USF and Georgetown, and the petty finals between BC and St. Mary's, and those each went to the maximum number of races, a 3-race series for the petty finals and a 5-race series with a decisive last race in the finals. So definitely check out the recap videos. We had Dave Perry doing commentary all through the finals, and it was a really, really well-fought match.
Georgetown becomes the pusher in boat number 3, and Stocky becomes the leader. Now Stocky's got to be careful that he doesn't go so low that Nevin can get over the top of him. So here's what Nevin's trying to do. Nevin says, I want the lead, because in fact the leading boat has won every start. So Chris Stocky went extra deep there and allowed Nevin to sail over the top of him and become the leader. So we'll see how that pans out, but that could be a moment to remember, seeing how this start works out.
Not the two teams that we expected to see in the finals.
No, but listening to your story here and checking out the results this morning, you can tell match racing is just one of those aspects of the sport. It's really difficult to predict, and I think that's why people love it. I think that's why it is a really, really fast growing avenue of the sport, and looked like a great event, especially when you think about how many races that got in on Friday and Saturday, to have so little racing left to do on Sunday. I mean, that was pretty impressive, and it doesn't sound like they were necessarily killing the sailors to get that done either. It sounds like it was just a really, really well-run event, so that's great to hear.
Yeah, it really was. It was a perfect setup with the boats right off of Corinthian, the Sewanaka Corinthian Yacht Club on Oyster Bay, and it was great to see all these different teams, because you had Georgetown, which was really the seasoned match race veterans. They barely make any mistakes, kind of as we predicted. And then a team like USF, Chris Stocky, I think surprised everyone. We all know his name. He's a great sailor. He's a fast sailor. But he's a senior this year, and we haven't seen this team do anything like this at Match Race Nationals in the past. So it was really cool to see the different styles coming together, and made for a really good event.
I think some of our success is just sticking to the basics, boat handling, try not to get too technical, and just have fun. That's the main thing.
We really haven't sailed that much, actually. Coming into this event, we trained 3 times before coming here. So it's just basically just keeping a lot of communication and focus in the water, and just keeping it simple, really, and just sailing.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome, and it's definitely obviously hats off to Georgetown, and Nevin is continuing to put a hell of a resume together this year. But I think Chris Stocky is really the big story, and from the sound of it, it sounded like he was really, really tough to handle. He and his crew were really fast for the most part, and Chris Stocky, like you said, he hasn't had a tremendous college sailing career, but he's good, he's talented. I've sailed against him, and every now and then, like, a good sailor is just gonna feel right in a certain boat, and apparently Chris Stocky feels right in a sonar, and for whatever reason he was really, really fast this weekend, and congratulations to him and the rest of the Bulls for a great weekend.
At the end of the day, though, it was Georgetown getting their second match race championship in a row. This team will lose a few seniors, but will hopefully for them be back next year as well. I did get a chance to talk to them, and Dave Perry, who, as I said, helped with commentary, interviewed them at the end of the regatta.
You guys just won the 2014 Intercollegiate National Match Racing Championship. And as I understand, it's the second time for the Georgetown Hoyas. Same team, is that right?
Correct.
Great. How's it feel?
Feels great. I'm still reeling from the last finish. So,
yeah.
Thus far all I can say is, congrats to the rest of my crew. And we have 2 seniors, and we couldn't ask for a better finish.
Fantastic. You won the first race, and University of South Florida, who did sail a great regatta, won the next 2. AJ, how did it feel after race 3? You're down 2-1 facing elimination.
I think our recurring phrase this whole weekend was the regatta starts now. So we decided that nothing before that happened had actually happened. So we're going to just focus on taking it one race at a time, try and lead back, and just try and stay in control and make them react to what we're doing. So,
to make it even more exciting, in the final 5th race, you were trailing at the first mark by about 4 boat lengths. You jibed away, and then you came back. Kachi, what was going through your mind as you came together at the gate trailing?
Yeah, we were just trying to do a better job of out-fleet racing them, and we were really looking at what's coming down the course and what we can get that they can't. So trying to jump them on any pressures, or holding, digging more into pressure that they are in. So just finding every opportunity to gain that little bit.
And Alex, this is your second win, so you've been in 2 national championships now, at least. How did this championship go? How's it compare to other championships, and how does it feel?
It feels great. I felt like the regatta as a whole went smoother than some of the match race regattas in the past. We kind of came together as a team better than we had, and feels great to really finish off well this senior year.
Yeah, now Alex, last year, as I understand it, you weren't wearing the mustache, and this year you are. So talk a little about the mustache strategy.
Oh, there isn't really a whole lot to say. It kind of gave us something to change at the end of a day. If a day didn't go very well, we could always get rid of it and start fresh the next day. So it's still here. We did pretty well. We're pretty happy about it.
So it's a good thing you're doing the mustache. Do you think Nevin could have a mustache?
I think he should definitely try.
Yeah. Hey, listen. One last question. You've done a lot of match racing. You guys were bronze medalists at the ISAF World Championship. Here you are, national champions in college match racing. Talk a little about match racing in college. How's it going, and what do you see for the future?
Oh, it's going really well. I mean, can't say enough about USF and the rest of the regatta. Just talking to Chris, the skipper, he hasn't done a lot of match racing, but here he is, and he put us right on our heels instantly. And I think just means the level's getting higher and higher, and I think college is going to have to start making more and more room for such an exciting aspect of the sport.
Good. Well, you guys are great champions. I know you're nice to everybody you race against, and you help them a lot. And I understand you'll be back probably to try it again next year. So congratulations and good luck.
The Zim 15 is moving dinghy sailing forward as the first performance dinghy to hit the market in 2 decades. Designed specifically for team racing and short courses, the Zim 15 is turning heads with its sleek look and advanced systems. The carbon rig and laminated sails make the Zim 15 a light air rocket that is easily depowered as the breeze builds. The Zim 15 is the boat clubs have been asking for to attract a college and post-college sailor.
And we want to take this opportunity just to thank Zim again for all their help with us this season. It was great to have their support, and they're obviously, just like US Sailing, they're out there trying to solve some of the problems in our sport, and the Zim 15 is a perfect example of that. They're building great boats, and speaking of that, they are providing 6 Zim 15s at this year's Midwinter Championship, which Eckerd is really psyched to put on. And so Team Race Midwinters is going to be at Eckerd this year, provided boats, and there's going to be 6 Zim 15s there too. So it's a really cool opportunity for college sailors and graduates to go down and check out this new boat and sail in an awesome spot. I mean, Eckerd is a really great place to sail. It's going to be warm. It's going to be great. And if you have the opportunity to go sail one of these brand new Zim 15s, that's, you're not going to get that opportunity too many times. So I think people should take advantage of it.
Definitely. And John, I know you are a veteran of the V15 Nationals, V15 Midwinters, that is. This is definitely going to be aimed at the same crowd, but you don't have to bring your own boat. It's not going to conflict with Orange Bowl, and you get to sail at a beautiful facility. They've got a hotel lined up and ready to go. Definitely check that out. It's going to be a good off-season event for college students and post-college students alike. All right, well, moving on with this weekend. Match Race Nationals overlapping with ACCs, and last week we had to apologize for the schedule change. I did confirm that the schedule on collegesailing.org did have Match Race Nationals scheduled for next weekend until they realized their mistake and fixed it. And so that was the confusion there. But with the 2 events overlapping, it kind of threw a wrench in the spokes of the ACCs and the women's ACCs that we're used to having at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's easy to look at it and say like, oh, well, there's only 2 teams per conference, missing, because there's only 2 teams per conference at Match Race Nationals, especially like up and down, like Mesa, Nisa, but those are big players that are missing, and when you take out that many big players at specifically at the ACCs, that's huge. And that really changes the whole landscape of not just co-ed ACCs but women's as well. As we saw this past weekend, now all of a sudden we've got specifically Morgan Kiss and Erica Reinecke. They get shifted over to sail at co-ed ACCs, and then like the talent just kind of gets spread around a lot. And so I actually don't know why Match Race Nationals was shifted to this weekend. It could have been because people wanted to make the season a little shorter. It also, I know a lot of times when big time yacht clubs like Sewanee or New York Yacht Club or St. Francis, a lot of times when they step forward to host something like Match Race Nationals, those yacht club calendars are so thick that a lot of times they come forward, they're like, yeah, we'll run the regatta, but it can only be on this weekend. And it's really hard to find a host for Match Race Nationals, so that might have been the situation, and it's just like, well, Sewanaka wants to run it, and who are we to stop them? And this is the weekend it has to be, you know. So I don't know why it was on this weekend, but it certainly depleted the field a little bit.
Yeah, still Navy, you know, hats off to them coming out and winning both the ACCs and the women's ACCs. It's still an impressive feat, no matter what else conflicts with the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, winning co-ed and women's ACCs on the same day is no small feat, regardless of who's competing. You know, I mean, the reality is that the teams that were at Match Race Nationals, those teams got spread thin, and that definitely changed the landscape of these regattas. But that said, there's still tons of really good sailors at these events, and to be able to win both of them is really a big time accomplishment. And I don't know, one of the biggest stories that I see is apparently the Snow brothers are really good at sailing. Navy winning co-ed, much thanks to a 29-point victory in B Division by Patrick Snow. So Snow brothers are going to be able to go home for Thanksgiving and have a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely a good way to go out on the season for that family. Some other notables on the results here. UVM. It's not the first time this season we've seen them put in an impressive result, finishing third at co-ed ACCs. This is a team that's kind of on the rise since they had a few years there after their coach was gone, and they lost a few of the top sailors in their squad where they were up and coming, but it seems like maybe they've arrived.
Yeah, Chris, it was really cool to see my old neighbors, the UVM Catamounts, have such a great weekend. You know, those guys are really good. Michael Zonenberg, Nate Germain, Michael Booker. There's definitely a lot of talent up there, and despite losing their coach, they're having, you know, they've had some good success this fall, and I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of rolls into the spring. And these guys are kind of a team to threaten the top levels in NISA.
And shifting over to the Pacific Coast, Hawaii comes out on top, looking very strong. Now, I know Stanford didn't send their top squad, but still, I mean, the sailors that are there are still pretty top level. We saw a lot from UCSB earlier this season, but Hawaii, you know, you never know what's going to come off of that island, and this year they're looking really good.
Yeah, that's true. It's always interesting with Hawaii. You know, they, you know, due to clear challenges, for them to get to a regatta off of the island is a pretty major undertaking, even if they're just going to California, let alone if they ever come to the East Coast. It's really difficult for them, and so a lot of times we don't know how they are going to look until we get to these championships. And obviously winning B and C and finishing second in A, apparently the Rainbows are off to a good start this year, so it'll be awesome to see them kind of roll this into the spring, and we'll see how they look come April.
Should probably just give a quick nod to Cal State Channel Islands. Gregory Dare and Bianca Barnes winning A division. Now they didn't have a lot of support in their other divisions, but it's always good to see a team like that you don't hear from doing so well at a big regatta like this. So hats off to them and everybody else on the West Coast, where they get to do a little more sailing this time of year down in Southern California. The rest of us, I think, are going to be wrapping up for the season. So thanks everybody for tuning in. This is going to be it for the fall season, but John and I will be back in the spring. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next season.
Thanks for having me this season, Chris. It was a lot of fun, even as I kind of dragged you along my road trip. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next spring, and good luck to everybody packing up the dry suits, and we'll see everybody in March.